Bruh, did you know that despite what your nervous system may have gathered from opening the internet lately or watching news channels, the entire world is in fact not on fire? Did you know that Canada is basically fighting tariffs with tariffs right now? The US has been hitting Canada with tariffs, and Canada apparently said, oh, we're doing this? Cool. And started hitting back with tariffs of their own. And while I appreciate the very Canadian version of F around and find out, there's a real human piece underneath all of this. Regular Canadian families and businesses are getting caught in the middle of decisions they didn't make. And I think this is one of those moments where we get to remember that governments are not their people. We can disagree with what's happening politically and still look across the border at our neighbors and say, hey, we see what you're going through. We're still your friends, and we're rooting for you, because politics should never cost us our humanity. Then there's Epstein. This has been going on, and this is the story that keeps coming back because people keep refusing to let it disappear. They keep asking questions. They keep demanding answers. They keep putting it in front of the people with the power to do something about it. And that is your reminder that your voice matters. Sometimes change doesn't happen because somebody powerful suddenly decides to do the right thing. Because when does that really happen? Sometimes it happens because ordinary people like us, who are extraordinary, speak. We ask, we question, we call, we write, we share. We keep putting the thing that matters in front of people. And we don't let it go just because somebody would prefer that we get tired. And then there's Iran. There's so much uncertainty, fear, anger, and suffering wrapped around what is happening there. This is actually a very poignant point. There's so much suffering happening around what's going on there. And it would be easy for us to look at it and decide that everything is hopeless. But difficulty is not the same thing as hopelessness. Chaos is not the same thing as hopelessness. They are not hopeless. We are not hopeless. Because even in the middle of upheaval, people continue to show up for one another and support each other, to pray for one another, to send energy to one another. People continue to speak, to organize, to protest, to help, to document, to care, and stand beside people they might not ever meet. Human beings keep reaching for one another in the middle of the mess. Never confuse a difficult chapter with the end of a story. Hope is not pretending that everything's okay. This is hope in the headlines. And we don't pretend that everything's okay or put a little sticker over it and pretend it doesn't exist. Hope is refusing to believe that nothing will get better. Finally, New York. New York has wildlife returning to places where it hasn't seen thriving for a long time. And I love stories like this because nature is one of the ways I gauge how we're doing collectively. When an ecosystem becomes healthy enough that animals don't just wander through but actually come back, settle in, start breeding, building a life there, something's changed beneath the surface. Something is changing. So yes, the world is messy, politics are messy, humans are extremely committed to making things unnecessarily weird, but messy is not hopeless. And since apparently the internet has enough doom, it's time for some hashtag peace trolling. May something work out for you so obscenely well that you become suspicious and have to check the fine print. May your enemies accidentally recommend you to exactly the person who changes your life. May every closed door you cried over turn out to have been protecting you from a room with terrible lighting, questionable energy, and absolutely no snacks, because we always need snacks. May abundance hunt you through the streets like you owe it money, tackle you into a shrub, and empty its pockets directly into your bank account. And may peace enter your life with such unnecessary force that every remaining ounce of chaos packs a tiny suitcase, updates its forwarding address, and gets the hell out. You have now been aggressively blessed, so go forth and become somebody else's evidence that the world is still good, because light still lives here.